Hi everyone, Chris Gibbs, Shire President for Shire of York with my monthly video. Last month's OCM, some of the items were acquittals for grants funding, and I thought we might have a look at one of those from last month's OCM, because today I thought it might be good to have a look at how you might approach looking at the agenda for an ordinary council meeting without getting a little bit overwhelmed, because they can be quite large. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo of what I look for when I'm looking through the agenda. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring up the Shire of York website. Once I get to the Shire of York website, I go to Council. Council meetings. On the page that's got council meetings, I'm then going to scroll down and find past meetings, because we want to look at last month's OCM. So I go to 2026 council meetings, and I'm pulling up the council meeting from the 28th of July. And there I can pull up what the agenda was. And I've got that on my screen now. Now it's a PDF, it's one PDF, and it can be many, many pages depending on how large the OCM was. This one is loading up, and it's got 365 pages. So let's say you were wanting to get interested in the next council meeting, and you pull up the pages and there's like 300 or 400 or 500 pages, and it feels a bit overwhelming to get involved. So here's some shortcuts. I'm scrolling through and I'm noticing that a lot of it is preamble and legal terms and specific things that we have to have at the front end of the agenda document. When I finally get to the contents page on page 7, you'll notice that the officers' reports are listed as starting on page 13 for this particular agenda. And that's the bit we're interested in. The officers' reports are the things that the administration is bringing to council to ask for a decision from council. So that's the heart of the meeting, as it were. So I'm going to have a look today at the multi-year funding acquittal for Hardwired Entertainment Proprietary Limited, and they're the people that put on the York Motorcycle Festival. It's telling me to go to page 13. Now, when I get to page 13, I've got the officer's report, okay? It'll have an item number, and then it'll have a title. The title is Multi-Year Funding Acquittal, 2025 to 26, Hardwired Entertainment Proprietary Limited. Now, the first thing I do is scroll past the officer's report, which is usually somewhere between 3 to 5 pages, depending on the item, and I go to the highlighted section at the end. So in this agenda, that's only 3 pages forward on page 16. It's a box and it says recommendation. That is what council are being asked to do or vote on for this particular officer's report. And it's a pretty simple recommendation for this one, that we accept the acquittal report and we direct the CEO to release a final milestone payment because they've satisfied all the requirements. So that's what I'm doing. I look at the item, I look at what is being asked of council, then I work backwards to the report itself, because the report is the why. Why are the administration asking for council to vote in towards this recommendation? So then I have a look, and it'll be a good summary of how the motorcycle festival went, what it cost, what our contribution was, how that fits in to various policies that we have and various plans that we have for the community. And then that gives me an idea of how the administration have reached the recommendation that they would like us to vote on. Then after that, you actually get a copy of everything that is the supporting documentation. So if I scroll past page 16, I'm now looking at the actual copy of the funding acquittal as put in by the applicants. And then if I scroll through further, I'm actually getting a look at the invoices that they paid to put the show on and other supporting documents. So when I'm looking at an officer's report and an item that council are going to vote on, I kind of go with, what is the item? What is the requirement for voting? What is the reasoning behind it, which is the few pages of the report? And then what is the evidence that supports that? And I just rinse and repeat going through that for however many items that we have. So if you're looking to get involved or looking to have a look at an agenda to see if it's something that you might like to come to the gallery to be more of a part of, or at least have an understanding of what we're voting on that week or that month, then that might be a way for you to get through the agenda document, and it maybe doesn't feel as big as it originally looks when you first open them up. So hopefully that will give you a little bit of a way that you can get a little bit more involved in the briefing and the agenda itself. And then, of course, if you want to see how things turned out and you can't attend an OCM, then a couple of weeks after each OCM, the minutes arrive, and that's where you see how council actually voted on each item and other little bits and pieces that happen throughout the meeting. We're heading into a very interesting time here in York. We're getting towards spring. It's going to be a huge, another huge year for York. It's usually a period of time where people tend to fall in love with our lovely Shire and our lovely town and the surrounds that come with it. So let's take care of each other out there and make sure we're welcoming to our visitors, and we'll see you all next time.